Hey, how's it going, guys? This is your boy Hazzed, and today we're going to be discussing the top 5 DPS for rated BGs and random BGs. Now, these guys are going to be just pure carnage, putting out DPS, guys that want multiple targets to hit to maximize their pressure. Now, this list was kind of hard to put together since a lot of classes are really beneficial when they get multiple targets, but we feel like we've really narrowed down the strongest. As you guys can see today, I've got on the Pokemon shirt. Why? I couldn't imagine why we got on a Pokemon shirt today. Kind of like some people just need a Pokemon, go outside and, do something. Anyways, guys, let's go ahead and jump into this top 5 list for rated battleground damages and see what we got. Number 5 is going to go to Demon Hunters. Now you're thinking, Demon Hunter? That didn't make much sense. It really does make a lot of sense, guys. Now, Demon Hunter has quite a bit of AoE pressure. I'd have to say not on giant amount of targets, but I'd have to say on 2 to 3 targets. Now, where does all their AoE come from, guys? Most of it's going to come from Chaos Cleave, the secondary target taking 50% damage. I believe they nerfed it down. It used to basically just be pure splash damage. Both of them take about the same. But what makes this ability strong, of course, is we're going in major cooldowns. You're going to pop in your Metamorphosis. Usually going to throw out some kind of Fell Barrage to deal an insane amount of damage. Throw in your artifact, of course. And then you're going to start dropping those Chaos Cleaves. Now you can see it's hitting both targets. Like just an insane amount of damage to both targets. Now this is going to be where the AoE damage comes in. And taking out a lot of classes. This is way too much pressure for most healers to heal through. And of course more pressure than any DPS can generally handle if a Demon Hunter gets a clear opener on him. And of course they have Blade Dance, which throws them through the air, and they AoE pretty much everything within the near vicinity. And of course you can drop more of those Fell barrages and cause some crazy AoE. Now the other thing that's really crazy, of course, is Chaos Nova, which AoEs the targets and stuns everyone in the vicinity, making it a very effective AoE. And of course, if you're good enough with the Demon Hunter and you throw in the stun, you can get back. And of course, I-beam multiple targets in a row, just like you saw there. Making it very effective to AoE on a Demon Hunter. I'd have to say all around. Now most of their damage, I'd have to say, hits about 3 targets. Of course, you got your Fell Rush, which can hit, any target within the vicinity. A lot of people don't think of Demon Hunters as an AoE class, but believe it or not, of course, when they have full cooldowns, procs rolling, and you dump with maximum amount of fury, Demon Hunters can actually deal an insane amount of AoE pressure, as you can see here. So that's going to be number 5 on our list. And the reason why it's not higher, of course, is because it really maximizes out on, I'd say, 2 to 3 targets max. I mean, if they want to stack up more, you can definitely get some more damage in there. But for the most part, I'd have to say Demon Hunter's AoE pressure is kind of synchronized for the most part in kind of a smaller vicinity than some of the other guys. So let's go ahead and jump up to the next number. Number 4 is going to go to Frost DKs, guys. Now, why Frost DKs? Of course, Frost DKs are always one of the highest on AoE. They've got an insane amount of course, spread dot pressure. Now, the crazy things that make this class extremely high on the AoE, I'd have to say, comes with a few extra little talents like Avalanche, Freezing Fog, which causes Howling Blast to deal more damage. Of course, Breath of Sindragosa, and I believe that about sums up most of their... Oh, Kill Streak, that was the other one I was looking for, which deals percentage damage, which bounces off multiple targets. Now, you can imagine when combining all 3 of these, basically what you do is you're throwing out all 3 of these at the same time, which hits multiple targets. Of course, you're also throwing in Remorseless Winter, which is another AoE, and of course, with your Howling Blast, you got the major dot spread. So once you line up, multiple targets kind of like this, you start building up some of that runic power, and you throw out your breath, you throw out your Remorseless Winter, you keep that up, and then you drop that one-shot Breath of Sindragosa that's currently in the game that can basically just explode people. And you got one of the most crazy AoEs by far in the game, I'd have to say. Definitely coming from Frost DK. Now, why is Frost DK, since they have such an insane AoE burst, why are they only at number 4? Because I'd have to say their AoE is actually quite limited compared to some other classes, because of course you're not going to be doing this AoE pressure at range, And for 2, if they are quite spread out, doing some of this AoE pressure is actually kind of challenging if they're nicely spaced out and you're going against casters. So that's why number 4 is going to be Frost DK, guys. So let's hit up the next number. Number 3 on this list, guys, is going to go to Fire Mage. Now, why Fire Mage? Now, everyone knows Fire Mage has an insane amount of single target bursts that they can do in Arena, outside of Arena, of course, in Battlegrounds. Well, the crazy thing a lot of people don't realize is Fire Mages also have an insane amount of AoE pressure. Of course, they have, I believe they did in WoD and previous expansion, just majorly because of Living Bomb spread and a few other abilities. Now, the things that make Fire Mage an insane amount, insane class to do some AoE pressure on, easily going to be Phoenix Flames. Now, why Phoenix Flames, guys? It stacks up to 3 times. And it's easily spreadable. Let's say there's multiple targets over there. You cast a Phoenix Flame. It dots all the targets, I usually have one more saved up, but I could have dotted all those targets over there too. You're also going to throw out your Living Bombs. You're going to use Blast Wave, and then, of course, go into your normal rotation. You can go ahead and drop your Meteor too, which is going to deal an insane amount of AoE pressure, and, of course, go into your single target cast. Of course, reapplying Living Bomb whenever it comes up. And Fire Mages can become an insane AoE damage spec, believe it or not, just by spreading a lot of those dots. And of course, if you're feeling frisky, you can use Flame Strike on proc instead of your Pyroblast to get a lot more AoE damage out there and consistently put out pressure. I'd have to say Fire Mages doing this could actually quite easily top a lot of damage charts as long as there's a lot of free casting going on standing in the back. And of course, if you guys know, that Fire Mages also have an insane ability to 1v2, 2v1, 1v1, things like that, since they're so mechanically strong and superior to a lot of classes. So that's gonna be it for number 3, guys. Now, why isn't Fire Mage higher on the list? It'll be pretty obvious once we discuss these other classes why Fire Mage isn't higher on the list. I'd have to say they definitely have one of the most crazy AoE dot scenarios in the game right now. So let's see. Let's go ahead and jump up to number 2. Number 2 on this list is obviously going to be Affliction Warlock. Now, why Affliction Warlock? Everyone knows that Affliction Warlocks have one of the craziest dot spreads in the game. And of course, if they're using Siphon Life, they become nearly impossible to kill when there's multiple targets to dot up, unless they're being focused, of course, by a ton of targets. But as long as you get that crazy dot spread going on and you put Siphon Life on all your targets, chances are you're not going to die, because then you're going to drop your casting circle, of course, and, be able to basically spam your drain life while your dots are ticking. Going to make this class not only strong damage-wise, but extremely powerful, of course, AoE, and of course in any team fight. Since Warlocks are also going to give dot coverage for any dispels. I don't know, let's see here, where is Unstable Affliction? If dispelled, deals damage remaining and silences. So yes, Unstable Affliction is also going to give a crazy amount of dot coverage, so that's going to be good too. As you can see just by what I'm doing here, the crazy amount of dot/spread pressure is going to be absolutely insane when it comes to rated BGs, and generally pretty easy to spread it all on the targets. You don't really have to struggle too much, I'd have to say, as an Affliction Warlock trying to get them dots off. And of course, if you want to maximize the pressure of some of your dots, what are you going to do? You're definitely going to get on the target, you're going to cast Unstable Affliction, and then you're going to use some kind of your casting ability, probably consuming your artifact weapon on the targets to deal as much as possible. But I'd have to say, now, why is this class number 2 on our list? Because the number 1 class, it becomes pretty easy to notice that it's easier to spread dots on that class, since it comes down to like a 1-button rotation compared to a 3-button rotation. And then to maximize your dot pressure on Affliction, you actually have to cast Unstable Affliction, which is going to be cast time, which is also interruptible if you don't have casting circle down, which can become a problem. Of course, you could also use Seed of Corruptions in AoE situations on a Affliction Warlock to cause even more crazy spread pressure, as you know, just making it absolutely decimate, or just decimate other teams when you get that complete dot pressure cooldowns rolling. It's pretty obvious. Now, you can imagine if you get probably most of these classes that we've went across all in the same battleground, it's going to be some insane pressure coming off on either team. So let's go ahead and jump over to the number one. So if you can guess what it is right now, I mean, you're in pretty good standing. Anyways, let's jump over to it, guys. Should be pretty prevalent to see that the number one class on this list is easily going to be Unholy DK. Now, if you're thinking why Unholy DK, you're going to be blown away. Now, if you've been watching my channel enough, you know why Unholy DK. Now, Unholy DKs have the amazing ability to basically spam Outbreak, which Outbreak not only deals damage on contact, but also, of course, deals dot damage afterwards since it applies the Plague. So yes, Death by the Plague. Yeah, it sounds very fun, doesn't it? Of course, not only does it hit that target, but it hits the targets within the vicinity, causing a very easy dot spread. As you can tell, we've already dotted up all these targets, and we're dealing quite a bit of damage to them. We can reapply right there. You can tell it's a lot faster in Warlock, because I had to click on basically every single one of them compared to only clicking on half of them. Of course, after you apply it, you bring in Epidemic to bring in that major AoE pressure. And of course, if you're an Orc, you can throw up Blood Fury right before to make it even more devastating to everybody that's getting hit by it, of course. Now, why would I say this is going to be the most devastating spec? Now, look at the cooldown of Epidemic. It's like 9 seconds, so you can use this thing about 6 times every minute, causing just immense AoE pressure. When there's 10 people out there, and you've dotted them all up with your Epidemic, and you're pulling in, or you dotted them all up with your Outbreak, and you're pulling in crazy Epidemic damage, there's going to be no class that can compete with the speed and just the pressure you're pumping out on multiple targets, because not only can you do it and keep up that AoE pressure on multiple targets, but you can keep up that AoE pressure on multiple targets while you're dealing just insane single pressure on one target, making this class easily the number one ranking spot for rated BGs, rated BG damage, definitely. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like if they have teams with, 3 Unholy DKs and Affliction Warlock to balance out so none of the DK spells can be dispelled. And then you get a Frost DK and then maybe a Fire Mage or something. We're going to be looking at some absolutely insane RBG comps coming in with how some of this damage is, I can definitely say. And probably some that we even can't see. But I'd have to say these classes definitely take the cake for being the leaders in raw damage in rated BGs and or random battlegrounds. Of course, some of them I'd say, like an Affliction Warlock, is going to require you having some healers to keep up a lot of your pressure. I mean, they do have a bit of survivability, but in random battlegrounds, of course, multiple people can shut down that damage pretty easy. As for an Unholy DK, you really don't need a healer as much, because mechanically it's so strong you can kite classes out LOS and do damage from behind pillars. So that's going to be it for this top 5 video, guys. It's going to be based on, as I said, just raw pure RBG damage. And until next time, leave a like, guys. This was your boy Hazzed.